everyone, welcome back. The ISG collapse, well, it's got everyone in the business world talking.
Yeah.
And for good reason, right?
Yeah.
You've seen the headline, sure, but we're going to dig a little deeper today.
Yeah, I mean, what makes this one so interesting, well, to me at least, is that it really shines a light on, it's not just about one company messing up. It's bigger than that, right?
Exactly. And just so everyone's on the same page, ISG, this wasn't some small-time operation.
No, not at all. This was a major player, like top tier in the UK construction scene. We're talking, what, the sixth largest by turnover? Something like that.
Sixth largest, yeah. Huge amounts of money involved. 2.2 billion pounds in turnover, just to give you an idea. And the number of employees?
Over 2,200, something like that.
Yeah.
Projects everywhere, all kinds. And then, poof, gone. Administration.
Crazy, right. And, it might seem sudden from the outside looking in, but building design had that timeline, remember? And it paints, well, kind of a different picture, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You go back to last fall, there were already rumors, right? People were whispering about ISG's finances. They denied everything, of course, but...
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And then fast forward just a few months, February this year, both the CEO and the CFO, they're out. Gone.
Yeah. That's never a good sign, is it? And this is where you really start to think about the people, the employees caught in the middle of all this. It's July. The chairman's practically promising everyone a sale's coming any day now. Don't worry,
Right. Everything's fine.
Exactly. And then nothing. Deal falls apart. No explanation. September rolls around. You've got winding up petitions, which, by the way, that's basically the legal first step towards shutting the whole thing down. And they're still trying to reassure employees, saying, you'll get paid, don't worry.
And then...
And then administration. Just like that. Can you imagine?
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. So trying to figure out what went wrong. I mean, the CEO sent that email, right? Blaming those loss-making contracts from a few years back, mostly residential, logistics, some data centers.
Right. But the Construction Inquirer piece, that's the one that really got me thinking. I mean, it sounds like those bad deals, that was just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I was just going to say there's got to be more to it than that, right? Because the Construction Inquirer, they're painting a picture of a company culture that, well, let's just say it wasn't exactly healthy. Apparently admitting problems that was frowned upon.
Yeah, they said something like they were hoping problems would just, I don't know, magically solve themselves, like on site.
Which, come on, that's not exactly a solid business plan.
No, not at all.
And then you've got the late payments to subcontractors. The article said they were basically only paying the ones who were threatening legal action.
Yeah, prioritizing like that just screams cash flow problems, doesn't it?
Big time. And then there's this whole thing about their payment times. You know how they always made a big deal about how good they were with payments.
Oh, yeah. They boasted about it, made themselves look really good, really efficient.
All right, supposedly squeaky clean, but...
Turns out they were playing the system.
Playing the system? What do you mean?
So they were basically prioritizing those smaller invoices, paying them off quickly, to keep their rating up.
Ah, so even if it meant...
Even if it meant delaying the bigger payments, the important ones, it's a way to hide cash flow problems, you see. On paper, everything looks great, even impressive, but underneath.
It's a house of cards.
Exactly. And the thing is, this isn't just a construction thing, right? This kind of, I don't know, creative accounting, let's call it. It happens everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Good reminder, right?
Yeah.
Look beyond the surface, no matter what business you're dealing with. But back to ISG, I mean, the impact of this collapse, it goes way beyond just their bottom line, doesn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. This is sending ripples through the entire industry. And this is where that Glenigan data gets really interesting because, we all see the headlines about the big projects, right? The schools, the hospitals, that massive vaccine plan ISG was building.
200 million quid, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah. All on hold now. But the real story, it's in the numbers, the sheer scale of the impact. Most of their work, it wasn't these flashy projects. It was industrial, office space, private housing.
So it's impacting projects of all sizes, all across the board.
Exactly. We're talking about a pipeline of 4.3 billion pounds worth of work just frozen. And 2.5 billion of that was already underway. Projects in progress just stopped dead. And those numbers, I mean, like people's livelihoods we're talking about.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And that human cost, that's something the Architects Journal really brought home, I thought. They actually listed out all the architecture firms that were impacted, by name. And suddenly, it's not just numbers on a page anymore.
Right. It gets real, doesn't it?
These are firms we know. They design that museum or that office complex. And you read the quotes from these architects, and it's devastated. projects on indefinite hold, teams scrambling to reassign staff.
It's chaos.
Total chaos. And here's the thing, right? A lot of these architects, they had good experiences with ISG in the past. This wasn't a company known for, dropping the ball all the
Oh,
time.
they had a good reputation.
Which I think just make the whole thing even more, I don't know, surprising. Like, it really shows you how vulnerable even the most seemingly stable businesses can be,
Yeah.
especially in an industry like construction, where the margins are already so tight.
Oh, absolutely. Construction, it's notorious for that, isn't it? The
Yeah.
price of materials, it's all over the place. Delays are inevitable. And then you've got those fixed price contracts.
Yeah, and on top of all that, you've got the pressure to, win those bids, keep the cash flowing.
It's a tough business, no doubt about it. And it
Yeah.
kind of makes you wonder, with ISG, what happens now, right?
Mm.
What are the unanswered questions here? Because there's a few that really stand out to me from what we've seen.
Like, what really happened with that sale?
Mm-hmm.
The one that fell apart at the last minute. Was it just bad timing, or, I don't know, were there things happening behind the scenes? You know what I mean?
Yeah, was there something more to it? And then what about the government? Are they going to get involved? Because after Carillion went under, remember there were those investigations, right?
Right, right. And you've got to figure, with the public projects involved here, the schools, the vaccine plant, there's going to be pressure to, I don't know, to get some answers, right?
Where-
Hold someone accountable.
Absolutely. And then there's the whole industry to think about because, like we were saying, those margins are already so tight, this could be, I don't know, the first domino to fall.
You think so?
Well, the experts seem to think so. Construction was already facing some headwinds, right? The economy, the cost of materials, this could be the thing that, pushes some companies over the edge.
It's a sobering thought.
Wow.
Really makes you stop and think about, risk. Not just in construction, but everywhere, right?
It does. And for me, the thing about ISG, the thing that really sticks with me is that it wasn't just one thing, It wasn't just bad contracts or a tough market or whatever. It was all of it. The culture, the finances, the outside pressures, it all just kind of snowballed.
A perfect storm.
Exactly. And I think that's the lesson here, isn't it? That even in this day and age, with all the data and the analysis, we can't forget about the human element. The choices people make, the systems we build, those things matter.
Absolutely. So as we wrap things up here, it's not just about, I don't know, dissecting this one collapse, right?
Sure.
It's about taking those lessons and, applying them to our own work, our own businesses, whatever we do.
Right. Learn from it. Adapt.
Exactly. Because I don't know about you, but I'd rather be proactive than reactive,
100%.
So on that note, I think that wraps up our deep dive into the ISG collapse. A lot to think about, a lot to learn from. Until next time, everyone, keep asking those good questions. And as always, thanks for listening.